All right, what's going on, everybody? Friends, family, strangers. It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto. I just made a very long video about this, and I'm upset because I went on a tangent and lost my whole footing, and I'm not a good editor, so we're just going to remake this video now. So here we go. It's going to be a lot shorter. I'm going to get everything kind of in the context here. It was a good video, man, but I got lost at the end. I just want the idea of this video is Bitcoin 100xing, making a 100x move with Bitcoin. What is a 100x? We hear that. We hear 100, we hear a million, we hear 100,000, we hear all that stuff, and it's like, oh, those are great numbers. But like literally think about it. $100 to 10x is 1,000. To 100x is 10,000. A 100x move is taking $100, turning it into $10,000. A 100x move is taking $1 million, turning it into $100 million. Okay? If you have $1,000, it's $100,000. That's significant money. That's life-changing money. If you have $1 million, you turn it into $100 million. That is generational changing, lifelong, after lifelong money, right? And if you have more than that, you could change the world with this shit, you know? Or, I don't know. The more you have to lose, is what they say. But anyways, I do want to say that I think Bitcoin and crypto is probably going to continue going down. I have this channel drawn up here, and if we look, we can see I drew, you got these little points, these little balls, I take them away and they come back, like right here there's one, right there there's one, right there there's one. If I move off it, it goes away. If I move on it, it comes back. Those are my points of contact. So I drew one line there, and then right there. Those are my points. And you can see this high and this high hit the red, and these lows are corresponding with it. We even came down and hugged this low point over here for a little bit, showed it as support, but we broke through it. We broke through something 2022 that we technically broke into back in 2013. It's like 9 years. It's like a 9-year channel that we were in. Really, we didn't, I guess, set the parameters. We didn't hit the top of it until 2013 December. But like 8 years, that's a long time to be in a channel. And I don't want to undervalue the significance of breaking it. We've broken out of this channel. That is a big move. That's not good. We just broke out of it with not a lot of volume, you know, but volume's building on the daily. Volume's a hard one. Anyways, I'm trying to say is I don't think this is a good thing. Beyond that, though, beyond the short term, let's go out to the long term. This is where I kind of got philosophical on my last attempt, so I'm going to try to not do that so much this time. I'm going to blow my face up here so that we can talk. Actually, no. We're going to put that on pause. We're going to come back to this. So 100x for Bitcoin. What's a 100x look like? What does that look like? At the current price of, let's just say 19,000. Hold on. Let me see. Get this zoomed in a little bit. There's a fly. Shoe fly, don't bother me. Let's see here. So from the current prices of $18,900-ish, or I guess actually I put that at 19,200. Let's say it's worth 19,000. Okay, if you were to buy now, basically, for Bitcoin to 10x, you would need a price, and I want to make something clear. So for it to 10x, you want a 900% growth, because if you have a 100% growth, that's a 2x. 200% growth is a 3x, right? If you have $100 and you get 200% growth, now you have $300 because you made $200, 200%. 100 plus 200% is $300. You 3x your money off of a 200% gain, not a 300% gain off of it. So what I'm trying to say is that initial 100% you already have. So if you make a 100x, it's really a 9,900% gain. It's not a 10,000% gain. Anyways, at 1,000%, which is a 10x, Bitcoin's worth $197,000. This purple line here is 100,000. This one over here is 500,000, and this one is 1 million. Just for references. And some of you might be like, oh, how come the gap between 100,000 to 500,000 is bigger, though that's only $400,000 in price? How come that's bigger than the 500,000 to a million? that's $500,000 in price. That's a smaller gap. Well, this is a logarithmic scale. If I click it out, you can see all these lines are equally spaced now. Well, this one's bigger, a little bit bigger. But when you logarithmicize, when you put it in logarithmic scale, what you're doing is you're taking it and you're crunching the price bars into like a percentage relativeness to it. It's basically changing the prices to percentages, price and percentage. Because if we just did percentage, it would be this, which we're not doing. But this fly is bothering me, y'all. But anyways, I need to get a fly swatter. But when you do like a $10 move to a $20 move, that's a 2x, 10 to 20. But that's only a $10 move. You take $100, you go to $200, that's a 2x again, but now it's a $100 move, which is 10 times as big, right? So that would eclipse the $10 to $20 move. The $10 to or $100 to $200 move would eclipse the $10 to $20, even though they're the same exact price percentage. Logarithmic scale allows you to see those same price percentages for what they are. It doesn't eclipse it. It doesn't throw the ratio off. It doesn't look all like, if we took Bitcoin off of the log, just look at how like different this looks. All this stuff up here looks massive, huge. All this stuff down here looks insignificant. You can't even see it, but it is significant. We put the log scale back on, and you can see there's actually a lot of stuff that was happening down here. It's just worth pennies and dollars versus tens of thousands of dollars. So that's why it does that. Anyways, little tangent there, little tangent. Got the lines at 100,000, 500,000, 1 million, and even 10 million. Even 10 million. Even 10 million. For Bitcoin to be worth a 10x in price, remember, it would be at like 900% gains. That's worth basically $200,000. 197,000. Okay? 190-ish thousand. That's what it takes to get a 10x. To get a 100x, if Bitcoin if Bitcoin hits $1 million right now, that's only a 52x. Okay, only for it to hit $1 million, you're gonna 52x your money. If you think Bitcoin's gonna reach $1 million, you can guarantee a 52x if you buy right now. Just think about that. Okay, this whole video is about 100x, but if 52x sounds good enough for you, if you think Bitcoin's gonna go to $1 million, you have a sure thing right there. Okay. For it to go to 100x, we need a 9,900, that kind of counts right there, 9,800, whatever. That's roughly at, oh wait, is that right? Oh, 9,000, yeah, right? Yeah, so that right there is basically at $192,000. For a 100x, sorry, 1,900,000. That's what I was trying to say. To 100x Bitcoin, if you bought at the current price of $18,000, $18,300, whatever, to 100x your money, you would need less than $1,900,000. You need less than that. So that's what 100x looks like right there. And I know that sounds so far away. We're only worth 18,300 right now. But I'm going to blow my head up here. We're going to talk. And just okay, one last thing before I do that. Let's just go to 10 million just for fun. If it goes to $10 million, Bitcoin will be worth a 53x or 530x. That's a lot bigger. 530x. Getting all my numbers confused. When I get high, I can't talk as well. So 530x from the current prices if Bitcoin reaches $10 million. That's insane. That's great. Okay. I'm going to blow my face up now. We're going to get real. We're going to talk. We're going to have a little sit down and talk. So, I'm going to blow it up all the way. All the way up. Okay. This is where we break it down for yourself, for your mentality. Are you an investor or are you a trader? Right? If you trade Bitcoin, cool. This isn't relevant. I'm a trader and an investor. I trade sometimes and I suck at it, but investing seems to be all right. If you treat this like an investment, because it is, if you're trading right now when Bitcoin's worth $18,300 and you're trading for $1 million, that's not trading. You can't trade that. That's going to take years to make. You're not a trader if you're waiting for years to make a move. You're an investor. So if you're an investor and you're in Bitcoin, I want you to ask yourself, I want you to think, just think, In my lifetime, what price do I see Bitcoin achieving? Is it 100,000? Is that the top? I don't think it is. Is it $1 million? Is that the top? That's a big number, but I don't think that's the top. Is it $5 million? Is it 10 million? Is it 100 million? Think, have these conversations with yourself. Like, where do you see Bitcoin going in your lifetime? Where do you see in the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? By the way, I'm gonna shrink myself again. 10 years down the line, we just broke out of this trend, right? We broke out of this channel that we've been in for almost 9 years. If we were to go following this bottom, instead of holding it as support, if we were to hold it as resistance now, and we went to $1 million, where does this bottom line connect with $1 million? Well, it connects with it right there in February of 2028. February of 2028. What's significant about that? Well, I'll tell you. That's around the time of not the next halving, but the halving to follow. That is a halving year right there. That's a Bitcoin halving year. And I don't think that that's a coincidence that lines up like that. It's all math at the end of the day. But what I'm really trying to show is the bottom of this trend, where we've been throughout the whole trend, but now we're breaking down. So if we just use this bottom, we don't even get into the trend. We use it as resistance. At the very least, if we're holding it as resistance, where's the first place that we're going to see $1 million hit? Well, that's in 2028. So back to asking yourself that question. Do you see Bitcoin reaching $100,000? Do you see it reaching $1 million? I sure as shit see Bitcoin reaching $1 million price before this decade is over, before we reach 2030. Like, it might not happen in the next cycle, but the cycle after that, oh yeah. To me, it's almost like a sure thing. There's no sure things. I'm not an expert. I just do this for fun. There's no such thing as a sure thing. But if you are a serious investor like me, it's easy to conclude that Bitcoin will be worth $1 million in less than 8 years. In less than 8 years, it's fairly easy to conclude that. It could not happen. Bitcoin could be worth less than $1 million in 20 years. That could happen. That's totally possible too. But I don't think it's going to happen. So this is where you're having that conversation with yourself. What do you think Bitcoin's going to be worth? In my opinion, for me personally, I don't know. I don't have like an absolute cap, but I do think it'll be worth tens of millions of dollars by the time that I die. By the time I die, I expect Bitcoin, I'm in my 20s, so I expect Bitcoin to be worth tens of millions of dollars by the time I die. Okay? If you're in your 50s or 60s, you might have a little less time left on this planet than someone who's in their 20s, clearly. But you still got at least 30, 40 years left in you. Where do you see Bitcoin being in 30 to 40 years? Because we just did the math or gave an example, basically, where Bitcoin can literally be worth over $1 million in less than 7 years. Less than 7 years time. Or I guess, yeah, less than 7 years. And I mean, unless you're like 90, that's a time horizon that I think we can all, no offense to the 90-year-olds, I hope you guys live to see as many halvings as possible, but let's just be real here. Think about your time horizon. What do you have in this life? Where do you see yourself retiring? Do you see yourself retiring at 20, 30? Like are you going to retire by 2030? Are you going to retire in your 20s or your 30s? Cool. Great. You better have a lot of Bitcoins. You better have a lot. Do you see yourself retiring in your 40s, in your 50s, in your 60s, in your 70s? Most people see themselves retiring. I mean, even when you get to your 60s and 70s, those guys are still working. Those girls are still working. But a lot of people do like to retire. They're 50s, 60s, 70s. If you're like me and you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s even, you've got plenty of time to accrue money. I do think in my lifetime, I think by the time I'm 60, and I'm not even 30 yet, remember. So within the next 30 years, I think Bitcoin will be worth several millions of dollars, if not hitting tens of millions of dollars. That could totally happen too. But if Bitcoin does achieve that within the next 30 years of being several million dollars in price, then a 100x with Bitcoin, a life-changing move that some of the best traders don't even come across, a 100x in Bitcoin, the safest, most secure asset on the planet, the most digitally sound and unique form of currency that we've ever had, has a 100x capability in our lifetimes. In our lifetimes. I want you to think about it. Really have a conversation with yourself. Tell yourself right now, what do I see Bitcoin being worth? What's it going to be worth? Whenever I'm 60, whenever I'm 70, what is it going to be worth? Whenever I have grandkids, whenever I have kids, when my cousins, my nephews, my whatever, whenever I have family that I want to take care of and friends, and I have something I want to leave behind financially for comfort for my loved ones. Or maybe you're not like that. Maybe you want to spend it all, whatever. Like I know there's philosophy for some people to not bring any money with them after they die, but or to give it away. They want to spend it all before they die. That's cool too. That's cool too. But where do you see Bitcoin being worth at the time that you're in the later years of your life? Because right now, I can tell you, I mean, we just did it. We just did it. Bitcoin, in my opinion, within the next 6 years, 7 years, you can see where I get lost on this. It's going to be worth over $1 million within the next 6 to 7 years. That's my opinion. That's a call right now. We can look back at this and whatever. Maybe I'll be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But if it's going to be worth at least $1 million by 2030, then what's it going to be worth by 2040? What's it going to be worth by 2050? Think, really have the conversation with yourself. Where do you see Bitcoin going? And if it's anything above, I'm going to shrink myself now. If you see Bitcoin in your life going anywhere above $1,900,000, that line right there, I'm going to delete everything. Come here, you. Delete everything. If you see Bitcoin going above this line right there, right? It is, yeah. Come on. Then you know that it's going to 100x for you. If you see that happening, and me personally, within the next 20 years, let's give it 20 years. Within the next 20 years, I see Bitcoin being above that line. So 20 years is a long time. We're different people by then. Life's changed. We're the same people, but like with different tendencies, right? 100x is totally possible within the next 2 decades. Is all I'm trying to get at. And this is where I lost myself. I kept just like going over this and over this. I'm going to end the video here, but I want to end it with a final statement. Besides my classic farewell, like I just like have a good day, everybody, do good things, all that stuff. But my final statement I'd like to say is sit down with yourself right now. Think in your head, forgetting everything I've said, or I mean maybe remembering some of the stuff, but not my price target. My price target can be your price target, but don't just think it because it's what some guy on YouTube said. Think it because it's what you think. What do you think Bitcoin will be worth in your lifetime? What do you think it's going to be worth? 1 million, several millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions? If it's anything more than 1.9 million, you've got 100x, if not more, possibility on your hands. If you think Bitcoin will be worth tens of millions of dollars in your lifetime, you have a 523x opportunity right now. Right now. And all you have to do is buy it and hold. Just buy it and hold. Do some other stuff, do good things. It'll be there for you, but just don't touch it. Let it sit there. That's all I got. That's all I wanted to say. I don't want to get too carried away again, but I hope everyone has a good day. I hope this wasn't too annoying or too repetitive. I hope you all kind of got a little itch to buy some Bitcoin off of this one. But with that being said, this is not financial advice. I'm not saying it's a great time. It is a great time to buy Bitcoin, but I'm not saying that you should do that. I'm not doing it. I'm waiting for Bitcoin to go lower. I do think Bitcoin will go to 14 to 16,000. We could go up from here. It's at 18,900. We could go up to $22,000 from here, $21,000, whatever. We could go up beyond that even, and then come lower again. But I do think ultimately before we break out of this range, before we ever break above 30,000, I do expect us to break below 16,000, and hold 14,000. By the way, 14,000 is basically right there. It's basically right there. It's 13,800, but it's basically right there. And if we tipped that with a wick and then we closed above it, I would consider that holding 14,000, or a fake out, either way. But this is a line that I'm really watching, and I think it will go just above this. I think we'll get front ran. Totally different topic here. I wasn't going to do this, but for the short term, I think we'll come down. I mean, it won't be like this. We could move sideways, and like whatever, and then shit the bed, all the way in 2024. I doubt it, but we're going to come down essentially, and I don't think we're going to hit this line. I think it's going to look like we're going to hit this line, and then we're going to bounce off. And that gap right there, this little gap right here that is in not green, it's in yellow, or I guess it's still in green, yellow. That is a gap caused by front running. People who are anticipating that Bitcoin will reach this price, and it never gets there because so many buyers are involved, so many buyers that the support level doesn't even need to be met, because this gap is basically signaling that the support level held. It held so well that we couldn't even touch it, So that's something that I'm kind of expecting. I'm expecting us to break this low, scare everybody, make them think that Bitcoin's broken because it's forming lower lows. It's below its all-time high, which it's never done before. Closing below the 200 MA, which it's never done before. All this stuff, it's going to scare people, and they're going to see this line as a major level of support. We'll probably bounce off it beforehand. We'll get front ran. People will say, oh, it's nice that we're up here back at 18,000 again, but we'll probably come down for one last lower low, double bottom kind of, and touch. Like, I'm just saying, this is all gonna, this is I can just see the headlines, and this is me forecasting. So what's good forecasting? It doesn't help anybody, but I am calling it. That's the shit that's gonna happen. Anyways, enough of that. Enough of all that. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope everyone makes a lot of money, or at least doesn't lose a lot of it. Make good choices, make bad choices, and learn from them. Do good things. Do good things, people. And yeah, Bitcoin 100xing is completely possible, guys. It's not just possible, but it is motherfucking likely. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I will bet all my money on it, and I am betting all my money on it. So, anywho, have a great day, and yeah.